I came from the Ethiopian border. We used to raise animals, mainly goats. Because of the drought, I lost all my animals. There was also fighting between clans, so we decided to leave the region and find some security. So we came here.
3 months ago, Sahra arrived at Halabokhad camp near the town of Galkayo in Puntland, northeast Somalia. Many displaced persons have found shelter here from violence elsewhere in the country and the creeping drought that's pushed rural communities towards starvation. To feed her family, Sahra can only count on the kindness of her fellow refugees. She, like everyone else here, turns to a woman everyone knows, a woman who can change their destinies. Hawa Aden Mohamed has restored hope for thousands of people. People like Asha, who's bringing up her 9 children alone, along with 5 nephews and nieces. A $300 loan has enabled her to open a small general store in the camp, supported by Hawa Aden Mohamed's NGO, the GECPD, or Galkayo Education Centre for Peace and Development.
My business is doing well compared to previous times when I had no one to help me. Before, I used to beg people to help me with 2,000 shillings to buy a glass of water. Now, thank God, I can buy my vegetables and food and everything I need.
The NGO, supported by the UN's Refugee Agency, taught her to read and write and enabled her to send several of her children to school. Providing women with access to education and development has always been what everyone here calls Mama Hawa's daily combat. It's won her the UN's Nansen Refugee Award.
It is the whole market, it's free for them. And in the afternoon, it is a must. It is a must. They have to go to school for the literacy classes. That was the condition we made. How can you be empowered if you are not educated? If you cannot really understand what the issue is? If you are illiterate, yes, you have a mind, right? You can talk, you can see what is wrong, you can see what is right, and all that, but not really at the level of where you can equally argue, where you can demand your right.
Her organisation works in the 20 refugee camps in the region. We could only visit Halabokhad, the safest and most developed. Puntland is a normally calm, semi-autonomous region despite being home to several armed militias and pirate bases. The week we visited, it was on high alert. Clashes between pirates and the army left several dead during our stay. A rash of kidnappings meant we couldn't venture far afield, and we were always escorted. We were only authorized to spend a short time at the organization's headquarters, the education hub in Galkayo town center. The GECPD was founded in 1991 when Hawa Aden Mohamed, who had fled to Kenya, decided to return home to help Somalia's women. It was a long-standing commitment. Responsible for the women's portfolio at the Education Ministry in the 1980s, Hawa set up several NGOs over the next few years to promote women's economic development and education. The Civil War led to exile in Canada. She returned to southern Somalia in 1995, only to again be forced to flee from the savage clan wars. When Hawa arrived in Galkayo, her stand on female emancipation clashed with traditions.
I was the witch. I brought not good omen to start a school. I have something else, ideas which are not good to our religion, not good to our culture. So, you know, it was really very difficult. The girls also, when they leave the school outside, they were insulted.
Determination kept her going. Nicknamed Trousers, in 10 years, Hawa and her team managed to open 12 primary and secondary schools for girls, a boys' school, a leisure centre, hostels, and the town's only library. The result? 40% of the girls in the region go to school. A national record in a country where less than a quarter of women have access to education. The centre also offers vocational education to women and girls in the refugee camps. This workshop has changed the lives of hundreds of them. The women make reusable sanitary towels and other female hygiene products.
It is really dignity key, because when you see that woman breathing, before we started the production, in schools, the dropout, girls don't want to come when they are breathing. They were using, tree plants, tree leaves, the leaves. They were using journals, and now they are using their piece of material in a proper manner, nothing breathes, they wash it. So it is really, it changed their life.
The kits produced here are bought by the HCR and distributed in the camps. The enterprise enables entire families to survive.
With the amount of money I get here, I pay electricity bills, the education of my brothers and sisters' children, and I have enough to cover my own needs.
Outside the town and the camps, the workshop also offers some safety to young girls who face the threat of violence every day.
Before I started this job, I used to collect leftover bits of cut from the ground to resell, and I used to sell rainwater. The little money I got from selling that, men came and stole. They grabbed it by force. It was risky. After they took my money, they followed me when I walked back home. They abused me and wanted to rape me.
There are 3 or 4 rapes every week in Galkayo. Violence against women in a lawless state where the strong can literally get away with murder is a major challenge for Hawa Aden Mohamed. She's also crusading against another form of violence, inflicted this time in the name of tradition: female genital mutilation. Hawa has suffered it herself, and in the most brutal way.
I was 6-7 years, and I remember vividly what happened. No anesthesia at that time. My sister died because of FGM. Even today, girls, they die. We don't have anywhere or any line which says that, yes, Alhamdulillah, God created you, and you have a bad birth to be cutted. We don't have anything. It is to oppress women's sexuality. There is nothing else.
Hawa has never been able to have children. 98% of Somali women still suffer this operation.
You see all these children now, they are all over. Yeah, they have undergone FGM, which is really very sad. Why it is continuing ages and ages? It is because of the men. Because if the father says no to my daughter, if the brother says no to the young one is saying no, my wife tomorrow, FGM will have been stopped.
Changing attitudes is the sort of work that won't succeed unless men get involved. Hawa has won the respect of all, but she still has to hammer home her message at every opportunity. The message will be carried forward by the young generation, a generation Hawa is trying to fill with hope. In these training workshops, several young men admit they've been tempted to try piracy or petty crime or one of the militias, or even illegal emigration.
The majority of Somali youths don't have a future, and they join the pirates. The only thing that can change their lives is training and skills.
Boys we selected were more or less, those who were street boys, card eaters, destituted boys. And they are the ones, the boys, the youth, who should create peace, who should come together who could work together, who could, keep hand in hand. So if we don't get the generation of youth, then we are again another lost generation.
But the woman many call the Queen of Galkayo has had to ensure there'll be a smooth succession to ensure the future. It's a critical challenge. During our visit, we watched a football and basketball tournament organised by Hawa for teams from the camps, competing against each other. It takes place in the GECPD's own stadium, a rare haven where men and women can mix freely. Everyone agrees sports are a way of bringing former warring clans and communities together in peace, and are a way of integrating refugees with their host communities.
They were the ones who were probing, craving community, you see. But now, when we say, okay, what do? We will defend our sisters. We will defend our neighbors. We will defend our mothers. So you see the community coming together. At the end of the tunnel, there is a hope.
That's all for this special Somalian edition of Women and War. Next month, we investigate the situation in Cambodia.